Okay, now let's get started. Hello and welcome to Vibrant Living with Nousha. I'm Nousha, delighted to be here with you today to have a conversation about our spiritual health, and more specifically, an invitation to become an uncertainty junkie. So my intention for today is to illustrate just how overrated certainty is and how underrated uncertainty is, and how uncertainty can actually be a springboard for us to live a vibrant, fulfilling lives, and that there are a ton of benefits to uncertainty. So, if we take a step back and take a look at our lives and, the school system and society, we have all been programmed and trained to look at uncertainty as a good thing and uncertainty as a bad thing. As an example, I think back on, being in an educational setting, knowing the answer, especially in school, knowing the answer, being certain of an answer was a good thing. And we're actually graded and acknowledged and appreciated for knowing the answer. And we would get, an A+ for knowing the answer for something. But then if we ask questions, not that asking questions was a bad thing, but the whole act of asking a question is an uncertain thing. Sitting in a question without the answer is an uncertain thing. And that was not necessarily celebrated as much. So it's just the programming that we have been in, that we have created in society, that certainty is good and that uncertainty is not a good thing and something to be feared, and it's the unknown and it's uncomfortable. And in fact, there are ways for us to strengthen our uncertainty, which I'll talk about very soon. And it's interesting, being a lifestyle entrepreneur, I have had to learn to deal with a lot of uncertainty. And if you talk to any entrepreneur, they'll tell you that the sport of entrepreneurship includes dealing with a lot of uncertainty. That is part of the game, and that is part of the win, and that's what makes it exciting. But before I go into that deeper, I want to take another step back and talk about our 6 basic needs, because I know not everyone listening is an entrepreneur, and I wanted to create a little bit of a framework in which we can have this conversation. And so our 6 basic human needs. Number 1 is certainty, comfort, security, and it helps us to survive when there is certainty. Need number 2 is uncertainty and variety. And interestingly enough, when I heard this the first time, Anthony Robbins was sharing it, and he shared that it's funny how with uncertainty we like to have uncertainty and variety in our lives, but it's with things that we like if we had a surprise birthday party or a surprise receiving flowers or something like that, we're good with that. But the uncertainty that we don't like is having to deal with unexpected problems or challenges, and that is the level of uncertainty that we're not willing to deal with. But interestingly enough, that is exactly what will support us in growing and strengthening our character. So I'll share a little more about those elements later and why they're important for us in terms of really living vibrant, fulfilling, alive lives. So number 1 is certainty, the 6 needs for being human. So number 1 is certainty, number 2 is uncertainty and variety, number 3 is significance, number 4 is love and connection, and most of the time, most people hover around these 4 needs. So certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection. This is where most people are. And then there's 2 other needs that are more spiritually based, and they are actually the ones that really bring us true fulfillment. So need number 5 is growth, ongoing growth and development. And need number 6 is the need for contribution. So this is not something that you will get, but it's something that you will give. And it's a way to serve as a result of who you have become. So these are the 6 needs, and I will draw upon them later. The other thing I wanted to share as well is just the benefits and drawbacks of certainty and uncertainty. And so the benefit of uncertainty, as we know, is the security, the comfort, and the drawback that we very rarely talk about is being boxed in physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and oftentimes being stuck and not feeling like there's any other options. So that's a drawback. And in terms of uncertainty, it's obvious. We've all been exposed to this. It's just the negative side of uncertainty is just this fear of the unknown. And I think for those of us that believe in something bigger, be it God, the divine source, whatever it is, this larger power, we know that each one of us is being held, and that as a collective we're also being held, that we're not alone, and that fear is really an illusion. And there's the saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And so it's an opportunity for us to shift our perspective about turning our uncertainty, the fear that we have about uncertainty, into faith. And so the benefits of uncertainty are this huge space for freedom, because there's so much space for possibility, for choice, for expansion into our greater selves. And so, as I was mentioning, as I stepped into the world of being a lifestyle entrepreneur, I learned very quickly that I would have to deal with a high level of uncertainty. And one of my mentors, Darren Hardy, wrote a fascinating book called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Awesome book. And it is indeed a roller coaster where you go through the ups and then the downs, and there's a lot of variety in the process, and it's kind of like going on a new roller coaster ride each time, because if you've been on the roller coaster ride, you know where the highs and lows are. But in the world of entrepreneurship, you've not been on this roller coaster ride. You are in for the ride, you're in for the thrill. The ups and downs are actually what make it exciting and fun and juicy. So entrepreneurship actually creates vibrancy and fulfillment in our lives. And we can also create this if we're not entrepreneurs, but I find that those that step into the world of entrepreneurship are able to embrace uncertainty at a very different level. So what are the benefits of embracing uncertainty, regardless of if you're an entrepreneur or not, or maybe you're exploring the opportunity to become one? So the benefits are, number one, embracing uncertainty builds character. So it builds the muscles of courage, persistence, trust, and openness, and a lot of other things. Overall, it builds character. And so there's a lot of benefits to uncertainty, but I've just distilled it down to 4. So the second one is the tolerance for risk. I found that my tolerance for risk has gone up. And in the process, another benefit is my confidence has gone up, because in the midst of uncertainty, I couldn't be certain of any external resources. So I actually had to go within and tap into my internal resources. And what this has done is it's built my confidence to be able to draw upon those internal resources and know that regardless of any of my circumstances, I will be able to handle what comes at me. Now, as you become a more and more successful entrepreneur, this ability expands more and more and more. And what's great is that with that come a lot of rewards, including the monetary rewards and all the beautiful things that come with having the ability to have an abundant life. So benefit number 3 is growth. So if you remember, I shared the 6 basic human needs, the things that make us tick, and number 5 was growth. So being in the world of uncertainty, allows us to really experience growth. And then benefit number 4 is contribution. So if we look back in time, all the heroes and the heroines that have lived have all dealt and lived with a high degree of uncertainty. And that's what makes them so inspiring and heroic to us, is because they were able to live with such uncertainty. And so when we look at our own lives, it's a really powerful opportunity for each one of us to be an inspiration for each other. And so my invitation is for us all to embrace uncertainty. Because as I mentioned in this episode, there are so many benefits to uncertainty that we don't necessarily talk about, that we aren't taught about. And so it's been a pleasure to share my own experience, and I would love to hear what your experience is living with uncertainty or embracing uncertainty, and what came out of that experience. And especially now when we are living in a world that is so uncertain, it becomes more and more important for us to embrace uncertainty. And even a step further, for those that are wanting to take it, it's to become an uncertainty junkie, and to embrace that process so that not only our lives can be vibrant and fulfilled, but as we do this, we can elevate the consciousness of the planet and also create a planet that is vibrant and fulfilled. So friends, it's been a pleasure to be here with you today to have this conversation, and I invite you to make a comment, join us on our Vibrant Living community, where we can have conversations there as well about becoming an uncertainty junkie, or even embracing uncertainty in our lives in small ways or in large ways. So until next time, friends, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light. Thank you for investing this time with me on the Vibrant Living with Nousha podcast. I'm so glad that you joined our conversation. If you would take 2 minutes to positively impact someone's life by sharing this episode,